Another day, another dollar, something, something. Oregon basketball lost again. So, 80 to 76. Close game at Michigan, top 25 team. Not a crippling loss for Oregon's resume per se. Would have been a really good win. But they've lost 4 games in a row. This is the first one that came to a ranked opponent, so at least there's that. Another ranked opponent's up on Saturday. We'll have a lot on that game tomorrow, so I'm going to focus on this Michigan game here because, yes, there was an egregious call that gave Michigan 3 points they never should have had and maybe took 2 away from Oregon, changed the complexion of the game. Even after that, just wild whiff from the officials. Oregon had so many chances. And stop me if you've heard this one before. Oregon was trailing at the half. They were trying to win their 7th game when trailing at the half, which is the most in the Big Ten. Instead, they stay at 6. So 80-76 final score here. And Oregon down the stretch, they need Dylan Brooks so badly. Or Chris Duarte. Either one. They need either one, and they don't have it. They need a big-bodied wing that can reliably get his own shot and be a tough shot maker. And they don't have that. And that's what is missing from this team and why they have not been able to close some games out or why they go through lulls where they can't score. And this wasn't a bad offensive game. Oregon 43% from the field, 33% from 3. I thought they took a few too many, but just some timely ones. I'll get to the shot selection in a sec. They only missed 2 free throws on 11 attempts. It put up 76 points on the road against a top 25 team. Michigan's 9-2 in the Big Ten, and Oregon scored 76 points. That should be enough. Here is where my frustration, and I know many of your frustrations, are really starting to set in with this team right now. They are not defending. They are not defending. Here are the point totals Oregon has allowed in their last 6 games, 5 of which are losses. They have just completely cratered from, hey, they could be a top 3 or 4 seed to, hey, Oregon's going to stay off the bubble, right? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. But in the last 6 games, Oregon has allowed the following point totals: 80, 77, 78, 77, 71 to last place Washington, who's the last place team in the Big Ten, and 65. And in that 65-point effort against Purdue, they put up a whopping 58 at home. So, am I encouraged that they had their highest point total since an 82-point effort in a win against Washington? Yes, that was encouraging. That's a silver lining of sorts for Dana's squad at the moment. But the lack of defensive intensity until they're down 10 with 5 minutes to go, and then they make a 14-4 run and don't allow a field goal over a 6-minute stretch. Some of that is Michigan missed some shots. A lot of it is Oregon goes, oh, I don't want to lose this game. Let's ratchet it up. I don't know why they can't get that at the start. Maybe it's because you're dealing with kids. Maybe there's a disconnect between the players and the staff. Maybe it's because, they've brought in a couple high impact transfers and, culturally it just hasn't settled in the way that it has in the past. But this has been really the last couple years. Dana's squads have had defensive lapses in a way that they did not used to. And Nate Biddle is a part of the problem. He's not the entire problem, though. He is not providing an inside scoring presence. He put up 8 shots in this game. Eight shots against Michigan. He had a good day shooting the basketball, which is great because Nate Biddle shooting threes, I'm down for that when he's open. He can hit them. He was 3 of 5 from distance in this game. He attempted 3 field goals that were 2-point shots, and one of them was a mid-range J. He's 7 feet tall. He's not thick like Dante, but he's not a twig either. The lack of inside scoring did Oregon in this spot. Michigan attempted 21 free throws to Oregon's 11. They were +8 at the line. There's your game right there. So the lack of defensive intensity and the lack of commitment and willingness to get the ball inside. The next time TJ Bamba shoots a 3 with more than 15 seconds on, with more than, frankly, 5 seconds on the shot clock, I am going to lose it. I have been losing it, if you can't tell. Bamba is ridiculously strong and skilled and adept at finishing with both hands in the paint. And there is just not enough of an effort to get downhill and get to the free throw line. Oregon had costly turnovers in this spot that were just not even forced by Michigan. They actually did a great job. Again, once they locked in at the defensive end of the floor, they were +3 in turnovers because they forced 15 Michigan giveaways. But then they would have some dumb turnovers to give it right back. One instance in particular, Oregon forces a turnover. Bam Tracy brings the ball across half court and he's just kind of meandering around. Nobody talks to him emphatically enough, or he doesn't sense the guy coming from behind. He picks his pocket. Turnovers are a gift. Sometimes you work for those gifts. Take advantage and at least get a quality shot off. But there were 2 instances in the second half. Oregon forces a turnover and turned it over at the other end. There were 2 passes that went to nobody because guys weren't on the same page. Like, they're just not doing the little things right. They get key stops. They don't get the offensive rebound. Biddle's got to be better on the boards. He had 7 rebounds in this game. He needed to have 11 to 12. He was getting bullied by the Michigan bigs. Vladislav Golden, who is an FAU transfer and a guy Oregon actually, or at least I discussed on the show last year as a potential addition for Oregon in the front court, he was bullying Nate Biddle. He had 15 points, 6 rebounds, and a couple of blocks. Danny Wolf had 15 points and 12 rebounds. Those are a couple of really talented bigs, no doubt about it. But Biddle was getting worked on the glass way too often, and that's what's frustrating. It is effort, and it is attention to detail, and a consistent focus on what you need to do to make winning basketball plays. Those things are missing, and that's really frustrating. It's frustrating to watch. So the shot selection is another component of this. Oregon got it to down, they were either down 2 or down 4, 2 minutes to go. Jackson Shelstad's a great shooter, no doubt about it. He's got big time range. He went 2 of 6 from 3 in this game. One of those misses shouldn't have been put up. With about 23 seconds on the shot clock, or somewhere in that range, he pulled a 28-footer, 27, 28-footer, and Dana Altman just dropped his head. There was no effort to get the ball inside. And I talked about Shelstad's assists coming into this game. He had 8 in the previous 5, and that needed to be better. What do you know? Shelstad, who had a good game, 18 points, 4 assists. That's a step in the right direction. Keyshawn Bartholomew had 6. The drive and kick. The drive, kick, and drive for TJ Bamba should be there more often than it is. But it's not. Because they get way too complacent just hoisting a 3. This is not a great 3-point shooting team. Bam Tracy is struggling more than he has in the past. And TJ Bamba, his 3-point struggles are well documented at this point. You got those guys combined in the game putting up 6 threes. If they only make one of them, yeah, that's a problem. But the real problem is that the shots go up and you're just pulling your hair out going, why? Why do you not try? Look at what Michigan was doing. Getting inside a little bit more. And yeah, they put up the same number of threes. I never felt like Michigan forced it the way Oregon did in a couple sequences. So, just another frustrating loss. So they've lost 4 in a row. Going into this game, Lenardi had him as a 6 seed. I don't think this craters their resume. But a second straight loss, no matter who you're playing, doesn't do you any favors. So I imagine going into next week when they lose to Michigan State on Saturday, they will probably be a projected 7 seed at best, maybe 8. And then they'll have 7 games, I believe it is. They have 2, 4, 6, 7 games left. Northwestern, 4 of which are at home. Northwestern, Rutgers, Iowa, Wisconsin, USC, Indiana, Washington. Only one of those teams is ranked. They'll have 7 games to try and stabilize their NCAA tournament seeding. But they have played themselves straight out because of their own mistakes of being a top seed that has an easy game in the first round straight into a coin flip game in the first round. Those games are going to arrive eventually. I'd rather have fewer and an easier path, but Oregon as a shirt. They still have the second most quad one wins in the country with 8, but I think they're about to be in the middle of a 5-game losing skid, and beating Michigan State. We'll talk more about that game tomorrow. That would do wonders for this team. But that locker room can't be a fun place to be right now. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.